Good morning to all of you. Welcome to Legal Matters by Sai Babu Sankara. Jurisprudence class 17, if I am correct. In this video, we are going to discuss the rational principles of justice. We are talking only about legal justice. If you go to the preamble of the Constitution, you may be knowing, we the people of India. So, justice, political, legal. So, we are social justice. We are concerned with only legal justice, just to in the part of jurisprudence. Right. So, what are the rational principles of justice? First of all, what is a rational principle? A principle which is endowed with reason. అలాగే జ్ఞానము గల వారు ఎవరైనా ఆలోచించిన రీజన్స్ ప్రకారమే లా అనేది ఉండాలి. దిస్ ఈజ్ వాట్ యూ హ్యావ్ టు లర్న్. అంతేగాని లా అనేది ఇర్రేషనల్గా ఉండకూడదు, ఇంపాసిబుల్గా ఉండకూడదు. ఆల్రెడీ ఐ టోల్డ్ యూ యూటిలిటేరిజం, విల్ కమ్ టు దట్ ఆల్సో. సో హియర్ యూ హ్యావ్ టు నో ది ఆబ్లిగేషన్స్ and also please remember the rational principles based on Rawls principle. Rawl, R-A-W-L, Rawls principle. So actually he has given the original proposition of the so-called rational principles of justice. Rational principles of the justice are, please remember, the reasonable frame of a statute where the rational choices of the parties is made to rational constraint. Rational choice of the parties to the rational constraint. Yes, definitely you will be having so many choices. One of the choices. Suppose I want to have a bench car. Some of the people want to have an Fortuner. So there are some constraint. I can't go for a Fortuner. I can't go for a bench car. My limit is only I can maximum go for Innova. So please remember, as a rational man, I think that my capacity is to purchase only an Innova car. Right? So this is what is called rationality. So rational choice of the parties, definitely they will be equal to the reasonable constraints. So please remember, so these are the rational one. Now we will go to the principles. What are the rational principles of justice? Number one, utilitarianism. We already know what is utilitarianism. So, Jeremy Bentham's utilitarian theory, that means law should give much pleasure or pleasure to the majority of the people, at the same time pain to some of the perpetrators of the crime. Definitely, law should be utilized by so many people. The second principle is perfectionism. So, what is perfectionism? If A does something, yes, perfectly, B should do the same. That means, in Indian, I will tell you example. Suppose A commits a murder of B, the perfect punishment is death punishment. If A commits theft, the perfect punishment is only 3 years or 1 year. So like that. So if the law is perfect in the provisions, then it is called the perfectionism. Yes. The perfection, suppose if somebody trespasses into the field of another, the civil court drives him out. The law will be perfect in this aspect. It will not say whether this can be evicted, whether it can be made to stay like that. No, he has to be evicted. That is what is called perfectionism. And the third one is law should be intuitive or intuitionism. Intuitionism అనగానే చూడగానే తెలుసుకోవడం. Intuition, yes, you have got interest. So I have been seeing some people. So there are different types of students. Some students, they want to learn intuition. They have got intuition. So what next? What next? How to this? How to analyze this? So what is the difference between CRP and CPC? All this. This is what is called intuitionism. Law should create the intuitionism. The rational principle before making the law should be made intuitive. Then rational egoism. So friends, we have been telling you, don't have the concept of the so-called ego. Ego is very bad. మీ అహంభావాన్ని అహంకారాన్ని తీసేయండి. బట్ the ego should be rational. So normally, suppose if A beats B, has B to keep quiet and go to the police station and report? No. B has got the so-called rational egoism. He has got the right of private defense or the self-respect. So rational egoism. So the law should think that if A slaps B, B cannot keep silent. B need not go to the rescue of the court, of course, to the law, but he can rebel. This is what is called rational egoism. But of course, there are certain restraints. Suppose if you want to execute your right of private defense, it should be rational, it should be proportionate, it should be in time. మీకు ఎవడో ఒకడు కొట్టాడని చెప్పి రెండో రోజున 10 మంది రౌడీని తీసుకెళ్ళి కొట్టకూడదు, ఇమీడియట్గానే కొట్టాలి. అలాగే వాడు ఎంత దెబ్బ కొట్టాడో ఈక్వల్ ప్రపోర్షనేట్గా కొట్టాలి. అదర్వైజ్ సో ప్లీజ్ రిమెంబర్ rational egoism. Then justice as fairness. Justice as fairness. Justice should be fair. Fair means should not be actually intuited or should not be supported by any rational or moral constraints. Rational constraints will be there. So the principle is rational. So the moral constraint that they need not be there. So only it should be fair. Justice should be fair. Justice should be impartial. There is no supporting of this party or that party. The justice is as fair as the law. That's all. The judge will go by law. That is what is called fairness. Then libertarianism. Another principle is liberal. What is this liberality? The law will be liberal, almost liberal to most of the people. Suppose if a young boy commits an offense and is convicted for 3 years, his age is just 20, 21 years, then the law will give liberty to him. How? By way of the so-called the Probation of Offenders Act. Probation of Offenders Act is such an act, even though the person is convicted, he will be released on probation and with a warning that if he commits any offense, then he will be once again sent to jail. Till such time, he can move in the society. What is the purpose behind it? The life of a young person should not be spoiled by means of the so-called conviction. So this is what is called libertarianism. So many examples we can give. So please remember, normally the judges, they are motivated by so-called rational interests. They don't have any moral considerations except in achieving their interests. So please remember, that primary rights give so many liberties and they may give so many powers and they may give so many opportunities. These primary rights, yes, definitely, they have to be accepted as the rational principles. So please remember, law should be stable. The principle of stability is also one of the important principles of law as far as the rational principles are concerned. Rational egoism. So Sujit has correctly established the word. So this is what is called self-respect. So definitely the principles of rational justice publicly support the citizen to keep up his self-respect. Already I gave you this. I have given you so many examples. So therefore the Rawls proposition or the Rawls definition of the so-called principles of justice, definitely they are essential. They work essential for the jurisprudence on the principles of justice. Of course, these principles are all, rational principles are all followed while making the law. So to sum up, I want to tell you the rational principles are: number 1, utilitarianism. Second is perfectionism. Third one is intuitionism. Fourth one is rational egoism or self-respect. Then the justice as fairness, the principle. Justice should be like, it should depend on the fairness. And lastly, the libertarianism. So why I had told you lastly? Because if you give liberty in each and every action, people will take advantage. Already we are seeing చట్టము లేనివాడు డబ్బులు ఉన్నవాడు చుట్టం అనే భాష మనం అంటున్నాం. కాబట్టి the libertarianism is given as the last principle. So with this I am stopping. Thank you very much.